It's that time of the week yet again when we touch upon some of the foreign media coverage of events here in this part of the world. As always, I have Kim Sung-yeon in the studio with me. Welcome, Sung-yeon.
Great to see you, Sunny. So much international media coverage, as you can imagine, shedding light once again on North Korea's missile tests. And there were reports also on South Korea's economic growth. And in line with that, I came across a story on the exports of gochujang, or Korean pepper paste, red pepper paste. And lastly, regarding Korea's goal of getting rid of marine plastic waste. So let's dive right in. North Korea fired what are presumed to be two short-range ballistic missiles Thursday, a move believed to be its sixth missile test this month by the Kim Jong-un regime. AP News cited some experts who said that North Korea could further escalate weapons demonstrations following the Beijing Winter Olympics, who added that it seems the North's leadership is trying to use dramatic provocation to pressure the Biden administration. Another article by the New York Times also noted that Kim Jong-un believes that saber rattling is the best method for him to get the U.S.'s attention, and that the latest tests prove a clear message from the Kim regime, which is that Kim feels he is being ignored and wants to re-engage with the U.S. The New York Times indicated that the tests individually do not amount to much, as their weapons are still under development, but put together, they show that Kim plans to use this year to get out of its diplomatic slumber with the U.S. The Times elaborated that this year is a promising time for Kim to make a statement, since China is busy getting ready for the Olympics, South Korea is electing a new president in March, and Russia is hinting at a possible invasion of Ukraine, making the Biden administration anxious. Furthermore, this year marks the beginning of Kim's second decade in rule, so he wants to make sure to reassert his authority to his people.
Right, Sung-yeon. Meanwhile, on the local economic front, there was quite a bit of coverage, as you mentioned, about Korea's growth rate for last year.
Yes, so Sunny, data shows South Korea's economic growth hit an 11-year high in 2021 on the back of strong exports and corporate investments, which also means it rebounded from the previous year's negative growth. So Nikkei wrote that according to economists, the uptick in the local economy will pave the way to tighter monetary policy in 2022. An expert was cited as saying that even though the Omicron variant will prove to be a stumbling block this quarter, the overall recovery is likely to be back on track sooner than later. Bloomberg also noted that the local economy expanded at a speedier pace, helped by firm export demand, as well as a pickup in consumption that came before the Omicron appeared. The report also explained that this acceleration also supports the BOK's perception that the economy is continuing with sufficient momentum. In the meantime, Bloomberg mentioned that the next rate increase may come later on in the year due to the curbs raised by the Omicron. It further pointed out that the central bank may want to avoid taking action too close to the upcoming presidential election. Moreover, Bloomberg said exports have been the economy's backbone lately, with Korea shipments hitting a record value in 2021. Data showed that exports, in fact, kept growing in the fourth quarter of last year, expanding at a faster pace of 4.3%.
Right, and speaking about exports, I understand outbound shipments of Korea's red pepper paste has surged.
Yes, Korean exports of red pepper paste, or gochujang in Korean, has soared. And we're talking about nearly 63% in the past 4 years, thanks to the global popularity of K-pop culture and K-content, according to data. So overseas shipments of red pepper paste, or gochujang, came to almost $51 million in 2020, up nearly 63% compared with year 2016 and 35% with year 2019, according to Korea Agro-Fisheries and Food Trade Corporation and the Agriculture Ministry. Business Standard noted that the surge seems to have taken place in recent years, with more foreigners becoming interested in Korean food through watching K-pop stars, as well as being exposed to more K-content and culture. Experts explain that Korean wave, or Hallyu, brought on by such K-pop or Korean dramas, helped fans abroad to actively consume Korean products. The U.S. topped the export market with a share of more than 26%, followed by China with some 17% and Japan with over 10%.
Right. And lastly, as you mentioned, Song-yeon, there was foreign coverage of Korea's intentions to eliminate marine plastic waste by the year 2050.
Yes, that's right, Sunny. So as we are all worried about plastic pollution in the ocean, Sunny, it does look like Korea is aiming to go neutral in marine plastic litter by the year 2050. So Shinhwa News noted that Korea's Minister of Oceans and Fisheries told a press conference with foreign correspondents that the Korean government takes the matter of ocean pollution very seriously and thus vows to completely eliminate it by 2050. Data showed that some 67,000 tons of plastic waste are generated annually in the Korean Ocean. Hence, the country's goal is to reduce the amount by 60% to 27,000 tons by 2030 and hopefully cut it down to zero by 2050. The minister emphasized that the goal is certainly not easy to achieve and requires international commitment and cooperation. Moreover, Shinhwa wrote that Korea also plans to realize negative carbon emissions in the marine and fisheries sector by 2050 via emissions reduction. It elaborated that Korea plans to achieve carbon neutrality through a variety of means, including replacing nearly 530 ships with eco-friendly vessels by 2030, also advancing low-carbon vessel technology and supporting hydrogen-powered ports.
Right, I see. Song-yeon, as always, thank you very much for the coverage.
The pleasure is mine.